Hi everyone, I am back with another video, and yes, I've been MIA for a very long time, and so I am going to talk about that throughout the video, but honestly it's not even that deep, and there are much more important topics that I bring up aside from me being gone. And so this is really going to be a video where you're going to not only maybe get to know what I feel about everything that's been going on in this world, you know, with COVID, BLM, and just all the injustices that we're seeing. So you're going to get a little bit of that in this video, but I'm also going to be talking about this palette that I use for my eyes. It's the Bretman Rock Wet n Wild Jungle Rock palette. The colors are so vibrant and they're really like well pigmented, so I'm very happy, very pleased with this palette, and this is definitely something that I think everyone should get, not just because it looks so cool and colorful, but because you can use, let's say, like these colors right here as like everyday neutral colors. Like maybe this one not as much as the rest of the ones I pointed, but this one you can make work. But yeah, so I think that I'll just leave it at this, and if you do like this look, then continue watching. Alright, I'll be using the Fenty matte primer just where I get oily. Like, I'm always so red after getting out the shower. It's so annoying. And for foundation, I'm just using this L'Oreal Infallible. I'm in the color 490. Definitely not a new foundation, but it's been my go-to for quite a while now. I'm definitely, though, gonna try out that Rare Beauty foundation that just came out, like by Selena Gomez. And just starting off with one layer, I might build it up to 2 layers. I think that might be the move. But yeah, I have definitely been away for very long. I don't really think I am someone who has like a following even to be like, I'm so sorry, like I'm gonna do better and all this stuff. But one thing that I have been doing from the beginning is saying like, oh, I'm gonna try to, you know, get serious and be more consistent with posting. And so like clearly I was a lie about that. But so I'm not gonna say that anymore. I'm just gonna, you know, post as much as I can, and I'm going to try to hold myself accountable, but I'm not going to be out here telling y'all like, oh yeah, like I'm totally going to do all this and I'm doing it for you guys. Like I feel like I need to just hold myself accountable and just get done with saying all these other things, you know? And like, you know, like COVID is definitely like a weird time, and then, you know, all of this stuff that has happened with George Floyd and how it just kind of brought up this like movement, you know, like I felt like I was getting anxiety from not posting or talking about it or putting myself in front of a camera, being that I'm out here trying to put myself in front of camera for makeup, but not out here, you know, doing anything in that respect for like speaking about important things like BLM and colorism within my own community and a whole bunch of other topics that are super important to talk about. You know, like I was someone who, or I am someone who has always talked about racism, about colorism. I've always been someone who has been very conscious and intentional about unlearning things. Because, you know, I'm Mexican, and within the Mexican community there is a lot of colorism, and it's rooted from a lot of our history, from being colonized and even more deeper than that probably. But I know for sure that, you know, I've always, you know, had to really be intentional with like what I was like thinking and like how to unlearn it if it was something problematic, because I have witnessed how it can really hurt people, and not just like a few people. This is like, you know, huge communities that do have the right to live. You know, like police brutality is a very serious thing that's been going on before all these, you know, big cases or big deaths that have happened. You know, I think that social media has really helped facilitate to showcase like, hey, like this is something that's happening and that's been happening, let me post about it. And you know, it's become a thing where people are becoming more and more aware of it because of this tool we have now. And so I was getting anxiety not talking about it here. And I think, not to say that I was not ever talking about it before, because for one, I was always the one talking about it. But yeah, like not to say that I've never, you know, seen this as a problem, never talked about it, never advocated about it and whatnot. Like I was definitely that person in my classes, in my circles that always brought up race, and always did it also with my family. And people would just be like, why do you always have to make it about race? And honestly, it's just because it applied. Like we don't realize how racism is so deeply rooted in our everyday lives, in every single little aspect. And so a part of me, when this whole George Floyd thing happened, when he was murdered, you know, I was like outraged. I was feeling these feelings that I've felt every single time like we would hear about another Black person being killed by the police. And it was definitely like a very emotional time for me, just because like part of it is that I've always seen it and it's just so frustrating that like people are like not seeing it. I was thinking that way. And then when George Floyd happened and people were outraged and they were talking about it like all over social media, I was seeing beauty influencers talking about this stuff on their own platforms, and like that's just something you weren't seeing before this. And again, this is not new. This is something that's been going on forever. And so at first I was like, oh my god, finally people are talking about this, like I'm not the only one, blah blah blah, like, because this gets tiring. It gets very tiring when you're the one always talking about these things being real issues and everyone's like, oh okay, like it's not always about race, or else you're like, why do you always gotta bring like slavery and X, Y, and Z stuff? And it's like, again, it applies. But when I'm seeing this, you know, movement start up or get more following and whatnot, like I'm like, great, like people are finally talking about this. We can finally like push for more. There's bigger force here. But then I was starting to like reflect more and more on it, sorry. And I was like realizing, I'm like, what is going on here? Like a lot of people are acting like this is new, or like, oh my god, like I need to speak on this. And I'm like thank you, I guess. But part of me was like, what is this? You know, like what is going on here? Like, you know, it felt kind of weird. I don't even know how to explain it. And then yeah, like I was like kind of trying to educate myself. I'm trying to understand like what it is that I was seeing, what I was feeling. And yeah, I mean, I was not the only person seeing it. And key terms were coming up a lot, like performative allyship. So and that's what I was saying. Like it's all about just posting that black square on Instagram, or here and there you're now starting to post about, you know, all these injustices happening to Black people, or just like racial injustices as a whole. And you know, I really appreciated seeing that, because again, like I'm like, finally people are seeing it, people are talking about it. But at the same time, like I'm wondering, like, how genuine is this? Like how much of your time are you taking to actually educate yourself, unlearn things, and make sure that you don't allow certain type of opinions and conversations to happen. Because one thing that I can at least speak on with my own community is we say a lot of racist or like colorism type, anti-color or colorism type of things, and people just wouldn't say anything. People were just like for example, we would say like, you know, you have to better your race. don't get with someone your skin tone, or don't get with someone that's darker. You know, get yourself with someone that's like really light skinned and colored eyes, you know, like a white person, or, you know, a Mexican, fine, but like who is white passing. Like that's their way of saying like to better the race, you know, to get us to get lighter and lighter so that our babies are, you know, more beautiful, and my community is as light as possible, basically. And things like that always affected me as a kid. But one thing for sure is that as I got older, I started realizing that I need to be part of the change of correcting people when they're saying things like that, calling them out on it, and making them realize that like that's just not acceptable. Hold on, I gotta do my eyebrows. I gotta focus on the eyebrows, so I'll be back. Okay, I am back. I think I did an okay job on these brows. I will fix them as I go. I honestly am not too stressed about these brows right now. But I mean, what I was saying is like trying to get back to the point where like, you know, every community has fueled into this type of lack of respect and just like lack of acknowledging the humanity part of Black people. You know, like saying things like that fuels hate. It's part of just fueling hate, part of just like feeding into something so ignorant that is not at all okay. And I just think that we need to not just talk about it on Instagram or Facebook and whatnot. We have to be very intentional about it in our real life, because the social media platforms are not real life. It is a good way to get some information, which, by the way, I mean, you need to either fact check before you make sure that information is actually correct, or you just repost it and you think it's correct, you know? But aside from that, you know, again, those platforms are not real life, and me as a person of color, I do expect people to not just be this performative ally, but they also go to their home, and if they hear their mom or dad or their grandparents say racist or anti-Black things, you correct it. It's not just about, you know, oh yeah, like, you know, I have Black friends, or, you know, I care about Black people, and so I'm gonna post it on Instagram. Like that's really like not even close to what is enough so that you can be part of the BLM movement in a meaningful and impactful way. So that's kind of where I was at when like I'm seeing this. I'm like, oh cool, and then I start reflecting on what I'm seeing, and I'm like, wait, like, is this even real? Like, are people really being like genuine about these things, like what they're posting, what they're advocating for? Like, do they really realize how important it is to acknowledge this and to correct it? And again, not only in social media, but also in your real life. And so that was kind of me. I had this anxiety because I wasn't really talking about this here on my Instagram and whatnot. But to be completely transparent, I have my own personal Instagram account aside from the one that I keep on promoting on my YouTube channel, because I do appreciate my privacy. So if you somehow, you know, stumble upon my personal, much more real, I guess you can say, Instagram, I mean, follow me. I don't care. It's just it was just like an initial idea I had when I first started all this, and I'm gonna keep up with it. I'm gonna keep up with having my 2 separate accounts. But just to be transparent again, is that I have always talked about this stuff on my personal page. So I've always discussed anti-Blackness within, like, you know, POC communities. I've always discussed racism as a whole, systemic racism included, and whatnot, in my personal page. So in my personal page, pre-COVID, pre-George Floyd, pre-Sandra Bland, pre all of these, you know, big things, I've always talked about it. So when George Floyd happened, I talked about it naturally on my personal page, and I mean, even there I was seeing, you know, people that didn't really talk about race all of a sudden talk about race. And again, I was very glad about it, but still suspicious, you know. And I mean, the more I think about this, or the more I talk about it out loud, I kind of regret having this anxiety of like, oh my God, why am I not talking about this on like this platform? Like, I should do that. But honestly, like, I was doing a lot of it on my personal page. I've been doing a lot of it throughout my entire life. I don't owe anyone an explanation. So whatever, it is what it is. I'm fine with it now that I'm like really speaking about it. I guess I'm just fine with it because I know I'm not being fake about it. I know that I have always been about this conversation, always pushed this conversation, not only with my friends who may share my thoughts, but also with random people in my classrooms when they're saying some rude, racist ass shit. I call out on it. In my white dominated classrooms that I've been in since I was a child up through college, I have always been that person to like be like, excuse me, you're wrong, or excuse me, that's incorrect, X, Y, and Z thing. And so, you know, I just have to really just remind myself that like I don't need any kind of validation from social media, because at the end of the day, like what I've been saying is that that's not real life. And I think that you need to do more than just talk about it on social media. You have to be about it. And I'm not saying like it's easy. Like you have to unlearn a lot of stuff that were put in your head from, you know, the way that other people think. And so you just have to be aware of that and just, you know, be intentional about it. I think my word intentional is gonna be super repeated in these videos, but I feel like if you're not intentional, then like you won't really make the changes that you need to make to become a better person. And I hope people don't take offense to me saying a better person, because honestly, like, you not hating black people, or you know, judging people based on the color of their skin, or you defending people who are oppressed, you know, that should just be the bare minimum of what a good person should be like. You know, just saying. Let me just like do a little bit of nose contour. Alright, so I'm just gonna blend this all in. Sorry, I have not really been telling you guys what I've been using, but for my concealer, I'm using my Nars Creamy Radiant Concealer in the color Biscuit. And then I have the Juvia's, like I think it's a foundation stick. And I'm using it as a contour slash like bronzer, and it's in the color Namibia. And this is just like a Morphe brush. It's the Jaclyn Hill JH08. So I'm just gonna blend this. This is like super light type of like bronzing slash like contouring. I'm not really trying to do like too much, but yeah, I feel like you guys are starting to realize that I'm actually pretty direct when it comes to these conversations. If you're not cool with it, like, it is what it is. I can care less. It's not like I'm afraid of losing like followers or anything like that. I mean, I'm no one, honestly. Well, I'm just gonna say what I want to say. And if people don't like it, like, who cares? Who cares? Like, I'm not out here trying to promote racism. I'm doing the opposite. So at least I'm not out here pushing things that are dangerous. Because, you know, people don't realize that, you know, there are different levels of racism, and they think that, oh, some are like, you know, it's just words. It's just an opinion. Like, it's not hurting someone in reality. But in reality, you are, because in your mind, you're going to be justifying, you know, why George Floyd died, instead of just realizing what the real issue behind all of this was. And so yeah, I mean, I'm just going to speak my mind about everything. I'm just going to get over this whole thing of like, oh, I'm here just to do makeup, because in reality, like, my life is not just makeup. My life, especially as a woman of color, is more than just like, you know, this fun hobby that I have. But, you know, racism, like, you just face all the time, and that's not to be dramatic. Like, if you think I'm being dramatic, then like, I can care less. Like, log out, exit out of this video, do not care. But either way, I do like makeup, and so I'm gonna try to have a balance in conversation even within this video. So maybe right now I'm gonna put a hold on talking about race, talking about very important topics, but just gonna finish off with this like makeup look for the most part, because I do kind of want to let you know what it is that I am using as I'm applying it. So I'm going back in with the Milani Make It Last, and I'm just gonna use like a random palette and just kind of dry it off a little bit. And then I'm just gonna go in with the Airspun translucent powder, and just going to be applying it under my eyes. I'm just gently blending in any kind of creases that I am seeing. I gotta blend those in before the powder, because if I do not blend without powder, then you're just gonna see all the nasty little cracks. And we're just gonna put some right over here. Okay. Now, I wanna get into my eyes because I have not used this palette at all. It is the Bretman Rock Wet n Wild palette. Honestly, I bought this palette forever ago with the intention of filming a video for it, but I've just been so busy. I have been so busy with moving and just like, you know, getting my life together. And then just like, I don't know, I feel like COVID definitely did do a little something to me in terms of, you know, my mental health. And that's just bound to happen, you know, but I think for the most part I have handled this COVID thing pretty well. But yeah. So, actually, let me tell y'all what colors I'm using. What the hell? Okay, so I'm going to be using first the Toucan Play That Game, which is this color right here. Can you see? Yep, you see it. And such beautiful, vibrant colors that I'm seeing. So I'm very happy and excited. I'm gonna just do some of my crease. And yep, very, very pigmented. I did very little because I do believe in like starting with a little and then building it up. Because you never know. You never know if you're overdoing it and then you just can't correct it if you go too far. Ooh. Love it. Do you see the color? All right. The next color I'm going to be going into is the color Ape Shit, and it's this deep, deep, deep brown. It looks a bit lighter on camera, but it's actually pretty deep. Right here, right here. And I'm going to put that like almost on top of this color I just put on, but a bit below it as well, because I do want this like vibrant color to still show. Yeah. Okay, so it's definitely getting deeper. There is a bit of fallout, like as you're tapping into the color, but I don't really care about that. As long as like the colors are looking good on my lids, I won't be the one judging the fallout. Okay. I am loving it. And so now at this point I'm kind of just putting the same brown deep color a bit more and more down closer to my lash line. It's a bit of a sloppy thing, but like not really. Because I definitely do want more of this brown. I just don't want the brown to take over Toucan Play That Game, which is the name of the color. Yes. I'm sure you guys are seeing my nails. They're a hot mess. I did do my nails yesterday, but I cooked a lot of food yesterday, and I was in such a rush that like it kind of messed up my nails. Like my nails ended up all cracked and stuff. Like the color was like peeling off. So I had to just remove it all entirely this morning because it looked really bad. I'd rather have like no nail color on than like what I had yesterday. It was so bad. All right, I think I have distributed the brown as evenly as possible and as much as I want, so to my liking. And I'm just making sure. you know, I feel like, you know, doing a lot of back and forth, applying these vibrant and deep colors little by little is always the move. I feel like I'm not the first one saying it either, so it's not like I'm out here trying to educate y'all, but I have definitely seen the benefit in that for sure. Now, this next color I am actually very, very interested in. It is Liar and a Cheetah. And it's this color right here, this pinkish one. When I swatched it on my hand, it had like this orangey like undertone. But I mean, you never know. I mean, just because you swatched it on your hand does not mean it's gonna look just like that on your lid. So now this is gonna be my first time trying it on my lid, so you will see my reaction as well. I'm just using like this, like, it's kind of flat of an eyeshadow brush. It's like super old. I got this at Ulta forever ago. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go in with, again, Liar and a Cheetah. And I will be applying that all over my lid. Okay, all right, let's see. Oh. Yo, this is so beautiful. So it's like shimmery slash metallic-y, or like foily, I should say, almost. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, yes. There's still more steps, you know, in this eye journey here, because you can't just, like, you know, pat this color and then be like, boom, I'm done. Just gotta put on some lashes and that's it, because, you know, you gotta kind of make sure everything transitions nicely. Okay, I think I am good on this color for now, at least. And then I'll go back in with just like this blending brush. It's the Morphe M330. And I'm just gonna make sure I'm blending everything in. I'm gonna use a color that's not on this Jungle Rock Bretman Rock palette, because I just want something a bit more in the neutral, and I feel like these are, yeah, no, they're not neutral enough for me. I'm just gonna go into my everyday type of brown contour color from the Kat Von D Light and Shade collection, and I'm just gonna make sure that I'm like lightly sweeping that color in between this, like, you know, Liar and a Cheetah color on my lid, and then these crease colors, just so that I don't make it look like all sloppy. I kind of want to make sure there's a cute transition to it. Okay, all right, I think that was enough. It was nothing too like complicated, but yeah, good enough. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into the super metallic-y goldish type of color. It's called Prowl, and this is just tiny. It's actually a lip brush, or lip brush, lip pencil type of thing, but I don't really use it for that. I always use it for like this purpose right here, which is put a little bit in the inner corner, give it that highlight. Nothing too intense, just because, I mean, I love all these colors. Oh, wait, that was intense. I love all these colors, but I definitely am more of a neutral girl. I do always love to play with like colorful stuff though, so this is me like really tapping into that part of me, I guess. Just changing mirrors because I don't want to regret this. I want to have a better mirror to look at what it is that I am doing. I'm just gonna quickly curl my lashes the way I always do. This might be a Mexican thing, honestly. It's just using a spoon and you're kind of just curling it like this, basically. This is the motion you're doing on your eyelashes, and it does take practice. It does. You don't just get the hang of it the first time. But I personally think this technique is better than like the eyelash curls you buy like at the store. I feel like this like curls my lash in such a curved way, and when I try to curl my lashes with like those, you know, basic ones from the store, I feel like it doesn't curl it in a curved way. I feel like it does like a weird thing. It's like boom and then boom, and I don't like that. I'm definitely not in the mood for eyeliner, like a black wing liner. So instead, I'm just gonna go back with this brush. Again, it's a lip brush, but I'm not gonna use it for my lips. And I'm gonna use or tap the color Ape Shit, which is the deep brown color in the palette. And I'm gonna just emphasize it in the bottom lash line, or not bottom lash line, right on my lash line, I should say. And I'm just gonna see about like you know, smoking it out, like kind of like subtly though. I'm not really trying to do too much with this. Just trying to see if I can add some emphasis to the ends of my eyes to maybe like, you know, give it an illusion like they're a bit like, you know, longer and bigger. And I like this brush for that because I do have that control that I want. I'm going to use a different brush, just something a bit shorter, dense still, and use that same deep brown color and put it under my eyes. Because I will be wearing false lashes, and I really love these lashes, and they are pretty, like, you know, big or bold or whatever, so I kind of want those to be the center of attention, and not like, you know, any kind of like anything else but like this eyeshadow as well though. Okay. And I'm just gonna put out like a light layer of mascara just so that it blends in with the lashes. But before I get to false lashes, I'm gonna do my blush. I'm gonna be using a favorite of mine, this blush palette right here, and it is the Catrice Eman palette, and I'm more so in the mood for the Cairo color, which is the deepest color in the palette. This is more of like a natural type of mauve-y, bronzy tone. Put some here in my hairline, I should say. Some of my nose. And let's pop on these false lashes. These are the House of Lashes, what the heck? No, these are the House of Lashes Iconic Lights, so right here. So I will be right back. Okay. These are it. Boom. Gosh, putting on lashes is so stressful. So much work. So now that I'm seeing like how intense these lashes are, I'm going to just intensify my bottom lash line just to kind of match that intensity. I think I'm also going to go back into the first color I started off with, which was Two Can Play That Game, which is just that deep like maroon fuchsia type of color. And I'm gonna also put that in the bottom and just see, you know, where it takes me. Do you see something? Because I think I see some kind of difference. I think it elevated it. So I'm happy. Okay. I think that the lip combo I'm going for today is going to be this NYX lip liner. And it is in the color Club Hopper. It's like a deep brown, but it definitely has like some purple-ish, deep purplish undertones. And then my Dose of Colors lip color in my main. This is from the Desi and Katie collection. Oh, you can tell my lips are so dry. It does not help that this liner actually is a matte liner. So it's definitely bringing out my dryness. It is a cute color, and do I want to like tone it down? Yeah, I think I might want to, but I mean, still, cute color. All right, let's give this a try now and see how this combination turns out. oof, it looks a little too mauve-y. This combination's not it at all. One second. Okay, I'm gonna add 2 things on top because, you know, I just don't care anymore. I'm gonna be using the color Bahama Beige, Milani Cosmetics. Okay. This kind of like reinforced the like mauve type of tones that I was already getting, but it's fine because I think either way, I am okay with this. Yep, I'm okay with this. Okay, yes, love. And this is the lip gloss in a Freebird, and it's a Morphe lip gloss. Alright guys, so this is the final look now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know that it got so real from the very beginning, but I really did just need to get that out there. That not only am I a BLM, or pro BLM, but I'm just like pro like being a good person and not being racist, of, you know, discussing and fighting colorism and anti-blackness is something that, in my opinion, is that we all need to do. So aside from that though, this was a really fun palette to work with, and I definitely recommend it. I don't know if it's sold out. I know that like every now and then I was hearing that it was getting sold out in places, but I don't know if they have restocked since then. But definitely such a fun palette. I feel like I think that I could have done something like more of a neutral everyday look if I didn't use the color, you know, Liar and a Cheetah, which is this like metallic-y, like chrome type color. But it's so beautiful and I'm really happy with it regardless. And I do recommend this palette for sure. Other than that though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!